Hello, and welcome to Studio Farrago. My name is Lorraine, and today I am drawing a White's tree frog in my neon junk journal. I have crafted this video after less of Comfortable Shoes Studio here on YouTube. They have been a great inspiration to me, and I love the way they present their art making and artwork, and I wanted to create something similar. I will link their videos down below. I'm drawing in a homemade junk journal. I put this together myself using vintage and modern papers of various sizes and colors and bound them all into an old vintage book cover. I'm using 3 pencils to create this drawing. I started with a Bic Velocity mechanical pencil. It's just a basic mechanical pencil. It's something that I'm comfortable with. I use it in my sketchbook. And here I used it for a very light outline of the drawing before I got started in the rendering. I have come back in with a Blackwing Pearl to add the outlines and the basic rendering. I will finish up with a General's Carbon Sketch to add the shadows and darkest tones. This video is sped up. While I could talk about frogs for 20 minutes, I doubt you want me to talk about frogs for 20 minutes, so keep in mind that it is faster than I normally draw. Now, White's tree frogs are extremely popular. You've probably seen them in pictures or videos. They're very hardy, so they're common in the pet trade. They're from Australia. They are also adorable. They're also known as dumpy tree frogs because in captivity they can get quite chunky. Now, I was a zoo science student in college. That means I was studying to be a zookeeper. And at that time, I volunteered in the herpetology department of my local zoo. Herpetology is the study of reptiles and amphibians. This department had magnificent tree frogs, which are a similar species. And yes, that is their common name, the magnificent tree frog. I got to move these frogs around and work with them, and having their sticky toes on my hands is pretty much one of the best sensations I've ever had. I also have a pet frog, an African bullfrog named Beefsteak. African bullfrogs are also known as pixie frogs because of their scientific name, Pixie-cephalus, which basically means tiny head. They do have a very small head and mouth in comparison to their body, unlike most other frogs, which are mostly just mouth. They are the 6th largest frog in the world. The males can get up to 3 pounds and about football-sized. Females are about half the size. That's why we think Beefsteak is a female, because she is so much smaller than a male would be at adult size. During the breeding season, male African bullfrogs compete to see who will be the dominant male. It is a very violent, bloody battle, and the dominant male, the winner of the competition, will mate with all of the females. The females will lay all of their eggs in one little pool on the side of a lake, and the male will guard those eggs until they hatch and guard the tadpoles until they are old enough to live on their own. During this time, that little pool starts to dry up in the African sun. And so to save the tadpoles, the male will use his powerful back legs to dig a trench in between that little pool and the lake so the tadpoles can be saved. You'll see I'm also using what is called a tortillon. It is a paper stump that is used to blend the pencil lines and soften them. Here I'm going in with the carbon sketch to add the darkest tones. There are also frogs that I would like to own. There's a species called the waxy monkey frog, which is also a tree frog. It's from South America. They live in very sunny, very hot areas, and they are out during the daytime, unlike most frogs, which are nocturnal. So they produce a substance from a gland in their skin that is, for lack of a better term, a sunscreen. And they use this substance and rub it all over their bodies with their feet. They're quite contortionist. And they rub it all over their bodies to protect their skin from the sun and the heat. There is also the desert rain frog, which has been very popular as of late. You might have seen a video. I will link one below. They're basically a tiny little potato, and when they get angry, they make a very high-pitched squeaking noise, which I'm sure to them is very angry, but it just sounds adorable. I would like to have one of those someday, but they're not very common in the pet trade. I would like to thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here for my first sketching video. I hope to see you again for more sketching videos. Here I am finishing up with the tortillon, doing the darkest tones, the darkest shadows on the bottom of the frog. Once again, I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you again. I will see you in the next one.